welcome to City Life. It's great to have you with us. Today on the program, we find out about HIV testing in Christchurch. We meet 3 young stars in the world of informatics. The update on driving testing and the impacts of raising the driving age. And the latest on the New Zealand International Film Festival. But first on the program, Laine from the Canterbury Play Centre Association. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Now tell me about the association.
Right. Canterbury Play Centre Association is one of 33 associations across New Zealand. Our umbrella organisation is the New Zealand Play Centre Federation. In Canterbury we have 50 play centres. They range from Kaikoura and the Kaikoura, Akaroa and Dunsandel are probably our boundaries, and we have a lot of city centres. Our centres are run by our parents. We believe that parents are the best educators of their children. We meet all of the requirements that we have to meet under the New Zealand early childhood regulations. So we run exactly the same as a teacher-led service, except we don't have teachers, we have parents, because we believe they're the best teachers of our children. We have an education program which trains our parents to run our centres, and a lot of our parents, of course, are running voluntarily. They're volunteers. They're there because they want to be there, because they believe that they're doing the best that they can do for their children, and their children learn best with them involved. All
right, and this weekend you are having a protest.
We certainly are.
Tell me about that.
The national government has picked up an ECE task force report, and one of the recommendations in the report is that funding is cut to all services that aren't teacher-led. So that means that all of the parent-led services like Play Centre are going to lose funding, and we're looking at about a 68% cut in funding, which is massive for us. So we're going to have a protest march. We're going to start at Sydenham Park at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon and walk around the block, and then after that we're having a rally with speakers from the Labour and the National Government at this stage confirmed, and others looking at coming too.
What will the impact be? Will prices go up for children going to Play Centre?
Play Centre is a charity. We charge donations to our families, so they're very, very low anyway. The impact will be that we'll look at probably about 150 people across the Canterbury Association are employed at the moment, so that figure would definitely change. A lot of the volunteers in the community will be taken out of the community as they look at other services, because the reality is, even though we don't want to lose any centres, we will lose some.
Okay, so tell me more about this protest this weekend.
Okay. Well, we're going to be starting at Sydenham Park at 1 o'clock. We're inviting anyone who believes very strongly in the parents' right to educate their own children to come down and support us. We've got life members coming, we've got family and whānau coming from far and wide, and we're expecting a really good turnout. Okay,
who are the people who will be speaking? Labour and National?
Yes.
Who are the MPs?
We've got Jim Anderton, we've got Megan Woods from Labour, and we've unconfirmed. We've got a couple of national people who we're expecting, but they haven't confirmed, so I probably shouldn't name them just yet.
Okay, so where does this idea come from? Why are they wanting to raise have teacher-led services?
Yep. There's a lot of discussion around what is quality. The report seems to want parents to be back in the workforce, which is a huge thing, and part of that is to provide them with a quality service for their children to go to while the parents are back at work. And one of the government's key factors in the quality discussion is that teacher-led is the way to go, and teacher-led promotes quality. We believe that parents promote quality. We believe that parents have the best buy-in because they're there solely for their own children and the children in the wider community, and we believe that they know their children best.
Okay. If this is adopted, will there need to be just one teacher? Or that they all need to be teachers that lead play centres, or will play centres have to close?
Play centres would have to change their whole philosophy if we brought teachers in. So that isn't at this stage something that we've really considered, because at the moment we just want to get through this and just send a very clear message to the government that we won't accept these task force reports.
What are the other options for young people?
Other options? Around early childhood, do you mean? The other options at the moment are home-based care and kohanga, and they will both be affected by these cuts as well.
Really? So are there any teacher-led kindergartens or play centres at all?
Kindergartens are all teacher-led because they're government-funded. Play centres aren't teacher-led because that doesn't fit with our philosophy of parents teaching their own children.
All right. So if people want to find out more about this,
they can have a look on our Facebook page. Play Centre is Quality ECE. They can also ring our association office at 17 Buchan Street. The phone number is 3772540, and they'll be given information there about the march.
Or they can just meet you at Sydenham Park.
They can meet us at Sydenham Park at 1 o'clock.
On Saturday?
On Sunday.
On Sunday, sorry.
Yeah, Sunday
All right.
the 7th.
Laine, really good to have you on the programme today.
Thank you very much.
After the break, we catch up with the New Zealand AIDS Foundation. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome Laura and Victoria from the New Zealand AIDS Foundation. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about what we're going to do today. We've got a few little tests here in front of us. Laura?
Yes, we're here to promote our rapid HIV test, or FAST test. It's free, anonymous, simple test for HIV and syphilis.
Okay, so we can do those tests in a few minutes.
Great.
But first of all, Victoria, tell me, what is your role at the New Zealand AIDS Foundation?
I'm a counsellor at the AIDS Foundation here in Christchurch, so I administer the tests there, and I also counsel clients who are HIV positive and their family and significant others, and also anyone who's at risk of becoming affected with HIV.
Okay.
And it's
so
free service as well.
Free
service.
Free services.
As well. Yeah.
Now, what are the things that you're doing in Christchurch at the moment, Laura?
We're continuing what we've always done, but just trying to get the word out that we do provide free counselling for gay and bisexual men and for people living with HIV and their significant others. And then we also do free testing for HIV and syphilis, and we can also do hepatitis C. And if somebody is also interested, we have the option to do a full STI, a full sexually transmitted infection screening.
Okay, so is that something they can get done from their doctor as well, or they
definitely can get done from their doctor? However, if they're feeling a little embarrassed or want something that's a little less clinical of an environment, they can come to us.
Okay, and you have moved, haven't you?
We're in a temporary location. We're over in St Albans, off of Winton Street. It's on our website, or they can give us a call, and we'll tell you exactly how to find us.
Is there such a thing as post-disaster risk?
It's a good question.
Okay.
That is a very good question.
Research shows that, yes, there is a possibility. We haven't really, difficult to measure. It's a bit too early for us. We haven't noticed it within in our agency, but I think it's, post-disaster, there's the talk about a baby boom after post-disaster, so an increase in sexual activity. So, and of course, if there are some people who are at risk of contracting HIV, most HIV infections are contracted here in New Zealand sexually, so that ups the risk for HIV transmission as well in that risk communities.
Are we in a high-risk time here in New Zealand at the moment, or is it just a normal time and you're seeing the same numbers of people coming through with HIV?
I think it's continuation of the same. However, we are seeing a continued increase in the number of gay and bisexual men that are testing positive for HIV, so it still is on an upward trend. So, yes.
Okay, we're going to show how easy it is today to get the test done, because it does only take 10 minutes. Now, in the ad break, you did actually prick my finger, and we can look at those results in a minute. So maybe you want to prick another one of my fingers, because I don't know how much blood is left in that one. So
definitely.
Let's just show how easy it is. So there will be a little bit of little bit of blood.
A little bit of blood.
So it'll be a little bit queasy or queasy. I don't think queasy is a word, but don't look.
No, yeah, if it bothers you, don't look. The other thing is we do just a quick conversation and interview through a couple questions, and it's just to figure out risk factors. It's we don't judge. We want people to have a safe and wonderful sex life, but we're just trying to assess risk factors and help people determine what they're doing with their partners, and if there are ways that they can be safer for themselves and for their partners. Okay. But it really is a quick, non-judgmental conversation about things, and then we get onto this, and we just do the finger stick.
Okay. That didn't even hurt. When you pricked my finger, that didn't even hurt. And, the blood coming out, that's fine. So you've got an HIV, this one here is the HIV one, and
correct.
That one is the syphilis?
And the second one is the syphilis.
Okay.
And they just take the blood and then the solution. I can give you your
Thank you.
tissue.
So this is some solution to make the...
Yeah, this is the solution that comes with the testing device, just to help it wick.
Okay. So how many people do you have come through each week for these tests?
Somewhere in the 8 to 10 a week we have come through.
Yeah.
So it depends on the week, but some weeks we've gotten as high as 12 and some weeks as low as 6, but 8 to 10 on an average week.
Okay. All right, so they sit there for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And we have done my first one during the ad break.
Right.
And we don't have enough time to wait for these results, but let's have a look at them.
The other part we would do in the conversation is to explain to you what to expect.
Okay.
And a negative result is always a single line. So with yours, we have 2 negative results, the single line, so we're confident that you do not have HIV or syphilis.
Okay, well, that is a good thing. All right. So is this something that is done throughout the world, or is this just for New Zealand? These kind of tests, how simple and fast these are?
This test is just done for Australasia. It's just done in New Zealand. Australia's a bit jealous of us in the fact that we've introduced this test 4 years ago and have been doing quite well with it. Across the world, it varies. There are a variety of tests. However, we use the Trinity Unigold, which is one of the gold standard tests for HIV. So it's very effective, very efficient. It's at 99.9% for its effectiveness. So we're confident in a result. Plus, we would, if the rare times we do get a positive result, we do get backup lab work done and then obviously help the person get into the medical system. Okay,
so Victoria, when someone comes through with these results and they are positive, do they then come to you and be counselled by you?
Yes, it's up to them. We suggest it. The great thing is that because I'm a counsellor and I'm giving the diagnosis, it's easier for me and them in a sense too, because I can support them wherever they go emotionally. Yeah, we highly recommend it because often it's quite a shock, and we're also finding that there's quite a lot of late diagnosis too, so people have had the virus for a very long time, a number of years, which has severely affected their immune system, and so they're coming in quite sick, and then they're finding out quite late in it that they are positive, so that has complications too. So they're dealing with a professional, and yeah, that can support. And we also are very savvy, we're obviously up with HIV, and that really helps. How the diagnosis is delivered really makes a big impact on how that person proceeds with their diagnosis.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got to say, I was a little bit nervous before I had the test today, but I mean, you did make it feel very. I felt good about that. So, Victoria and Laura, thank you so much for coming in today. Now, how can people get in touch with you to have these tests done?
I think the easiest way is our website. It's www.nzaf.org.nz, and it is free and anonymous. We don't care what name you give us.
Okay, excellent. Thank you both for coming on the program today.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back after this break. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome Jamie and Logan here to talk about informatics. What on earth is informatics?
It's computer programming and problem-solving thing where you have to solve problems, write a program that solves a problem in the general sense, that takes input and produces output, and it needs to be correct and fast enough.
That sounds really confusing. Logan, can you explain it in a more layman's term? Or was that quite clear?
That was probably a good definition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you guys have just been in Thailand. Logan, tell me about that trip.
Well, we went, I think we were there for 10 days or something like that. And there were 2 5-hour competitions which were quite intense. And it was like we met lots of people from around the world. There were 300 other contestants and from 80 countries.
Wow.
So it was really interesting.
So you two and another one, Tony from Christ College, were the only 3 from Christchurch or New Zealand, or how did it work?
Yeah, we were the only 3 from Christchurch, and then there was another one from Hamilton.
Wow, so 4 people from New Zealand, 3 from Christchurch.
Yeah.
We must really know our informatics down here.
That's it.
Yeah. So how did you guys get chosen to go and represent New Zealand?
There's an organisation called the NZOI, which runs a series of competitions designed to select the people for the team, and there's a training camp in the summer holidays, which is also used.
Okay. And so, Logan, how did you get into this kind of computer programming, informatics?
When I went to high school, like my CIS teacher.
What's CIS?
Computer and Information
Okay.
Science.
CIF, sorry.
Yeah, so my computers teacher suggested that I go to this summer camp, and that was where I kind of started.
Okay. So what were the problems that you were faced with in Thailand? Was it quite complicated?
It's quite hard to explain, I guess. There's 3 different problems on each day, and so one of them you had to transmit a message, but everything you transmitted came through in scrambled order, so you had to transmit the message and then write something that would reconstruct it again afterwards.
Okay. And did you find it tricky?
Yes.
Did you? Yeah?
Yeah, the problems are very hard.
Really? How did you go? Did you problem solve them all? Or solve them all?
I think I got 1 completely correct and then partial marks on the rest.
Okay. And so it wasn't a team thing, it was all individual?
Yes.
How did you rank? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Quite well?
Probably around 150th.
Oh,
place.
really?
Yeah.
Yourself, Logan?
120th. or
Okay.
something.
So you're probably best in New Zealand. Yeah. So are you going to start, like, become the next Bill Gates?
Not sure yet.
Not sure yet. You're still at school, so... Although you're not at school, you're at university.
I'm at uni, yeah.
So what are you doing there?
Maths and computer science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you guys hope to represent New Zealand next year at this?
Well, I'm not eligible anymore. So like I've gone for the last 4 years, and it was quite sad this year being my last to say goodbye to all the friends I've made through it. But I'm coming back as a tutor to the training camp.
Okay. Now I believe you had some money to help you on your way over there. How did that work?
Well, the university and the Akaroa Community Board helped me out a lot with my travel funding, so I'd like to say thank you to them.
Oh, good. And how about you? How did you raise your money?
I think for high school students, a lot comes through the Royal Society of New Zealand or something,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your time over there? Were you inside all the time, or did you actually could you go outside and get a little bit of sun?
Yeah, I got sunburnt, I think, and so did Jamie.
Oh, really? So did you guys know each other before you went over there? Okay. Is there a club here in Christchurch?
Not really a club, but we'd met at the training camp.
Okay. And how many people?
Various competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
After that as well.
I'm guessing you guys are going to keep in touch as well.
Yeah.
Exchange code.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of thing you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this something that someone would be able to pick up quite easily?
Yeah, you can. The easier problems are definitely approachable by someone who hasn't done much before.
Yeah. Okay. And next year uni or a couple of years?
I'm in year 11 this year, so
Okay.
I've got a couple more years.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, best of luck. I hope you are able to represent New Zealand next year. In Thailand as well, or
It's in Italy next year.
Oh, Italy! Wow, you better start saving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good to have you on the programme, Jamie and Logan, and good luck.
I'm joined today by Sarah and Brendan from Ray White Real Estate in Rolleston. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Why Rolleston? Why should somebody move to Rolleston?
Why not? That's the question you've got to ask.
That's a very pertinent question. Tell me then, what has Rolleston got to offer somebody?
Well, I mean, it's just, it's one of the fastest growing regions in New Zealand at the moment. You look at what's, development that's happening out there at the moment, the new Rolleston Square's, all full now. The warehouse is there, New World's there, a lot of shopping. Posty Plus has just opened up in the process of building the new countdown that's going to be up and running by, well and truly before Christmas.
So what sort of a community is developing out there?
The good thing about Rolleston is it does offer a variety of housing right the way from the townhouses that are on sort of around 400 square metres up to the larger sections where you can have anything sort of around the 2,000 square metres. So it's now really good for across the board, all the family dynamics, you know, the older family and young families that want that space for the children as well.
So you've got communities and you've got sort of like estates, have you?
Yes.
And then you've got the individual streets.
Yes, so there are areas in Rolleston which are designated for sort of the larger sections. We've got Cajun's Country, that's the sections that are the larger blocks, and Madison Gardens around that sort of area. And then obviously we've got sort of Rolleston Park, which have the normal section sizes of around 750, 800 square metres.
Okay, so there's a variety.
Yep.
Okay. Rolleston's a long way from the central city.
No, it's not. No, it's not compared to other cities, and we've got the new Southern Motorway coming out that's planned, so there's just a good variety of roads into Christchurch. So, you know, it's not all down the main south road. There's different ways depending on which part of the city you're trying to get to, so no congestion in the mornings or in the evenings.
So is a future transport planned, or is it just going to be the norm as we know it now? Or are they looking maybe for rail corridors, or is there any movement there?
At this stage with rail, there's nothing, you know, there's nothing planned, you know, rail-wise at the stage that, you know, public is aware of.
Okay.
But as far as the Southern Motorway goes, there's different stages at the moment, you know, and they're just about at Hallswell now with it, you know, so that's going to be up and running. But also the beauty about Rolleston too is access into town. You know, there's not just the main drag in. You know, you've got different feed routes. You know, Pound Road out to Yuldhurst, down Memorial, you know, down Memorial Ave, Yuldhurst Road, you know, and right round to Waireki Road, and then even to get to the other side of town, you know, the back road round Sawyers Arms Road, and if you want to go to the Cashmere Hills, you just go through Hallswell.
Okay, all right. So we've got access. What opportunities exist out? I mean, why, if you went to live out there, what job opportunities are there in Rolleston, in the greater Rolleston area?
Well, there's the new iZone Park that's growing rapidly at the moment. So we do see a potential that people will be able to live in Rolleston and work very locally.
So when we talk about then also community, besides people going out there for commuting and for working, is it a Nappyville? Or is it a wider section of the community? Oh,
definitely a wider section of the community now that the housing does meet the needs of, you know, as I say, the broader age group, and with planned, there are plans for sort of apartments and, you know, homes more suitable for, you know, the over 60s type of scenario. So no, it's across the board, full sense of community. Lots going on in the community centre, lots of different clubs and activities, and we have got the new aquatic centre that's due to start soon as well. So great sports facilities coming.
All right. So okay, we know that. The one thing that possibly will be asked: what is the state of the land like out there?
Well,
can you answer that, Brent?
I mean, I'll answer. You know, I've lived in Rolleston for a considerable amount of time, and
yes.
You know, I mean, you know, you bought this section that was nice lush grass, and then you'd go to dig a hole and put a tree down, and a foot underneath you just amongst rock.
Right.
You know, what a lot of people forget is in September last year, the 7.1 was just down the road.
Yep.
You know, and as far as the earthquake goes, we had no liquefaction. You know, it's solid ground that it's built on, and you know, that's the end of it. It is a, you know, it's often joked about as stony old Rolleston.
Yes.
You know, but it stood the test of time, and
well, it hasn't got any trees, has it? I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it's flat, and you know, it's got a built environment, but there's no natural environment. Is this being developed at all?
I mean, it is being developed, but you know, some of those subdivisions there have been there now for 15 years. You know, so I mean, yeah, sort of people think it's a new area, but you know, I mean, the silver birches, some of them have already been cut down because they're getting too big now anyway. And of course, there are schools, and of course, a lot of other amenities, aren't there? Oh, that's it. You know, you've got the Rolleston Primary School, the new school's open. You know, the Clearview School. You know, further down the track, there's the aquatic centre that's, you know, starting soon, and you know, eventually one day there'll be the high school.
Brendan, Sarah, we're going to follow this through. We're going to come with some images next time, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome back to the program Duncan from the Institute of Advanced Motorists. Good to have you here.
Good to be here as well.
Now, the driving age has gone up from 15 to 16. What does this mean?
Well, it means a number of things. Hopefully, the biggest factor, the biggest difference that it would mean is that the death rate and the accident rate for 15-year-olds is going to go down because they're not going to be driving. So that's probably the number one factor, and that's where one of the reasons why the government have introduced this measure. In regards to kind of what it means to young people who are driving, there's a number of things that could happen potentially if they're already in the driver learning system. Then the driver licensing system, then what that means to them is that they can probably progress through pretty much the way that they would normally progress. If they've already booked a driving test and they're age 15 and a half and they're going for their restricted test, then they can continue to do that test. If they fail the test, they can rebook it, and there'd still be no changes there. If they're over 16, then again, there's no changes to them because they're already in the system. However, if they've just got their licence, they're not now going to be able to do their restricted test until they're 16 years old. So there are going to be a few kind of people trying to kind of wangle their way through the loops and that kind of thing. And there are a few exemptions that can be had, and all that information is available on the NZTA website.
Okay, and there's some more changes coming up as well from the 7th of August. Tell me about those.
Yeah, so from the 7th of August, the blood alcohol content for under 20s is going to be reduced to 0. So there's basically no alcohol allowed whatsoever. And that's the blood alcohol content or alcohol in young drivers is quite a major factor for the death rate to drop. So yeah, that's quite good. There's also some changes going to be coming in next year. Around about February, they're going to be changing the current format for the restricted driving test. That's going to be based around the Vic roads, Victoria in Australia. Their driving test, which is based on around 120 hours worth of driving experience, whereas the current restricted test is only based at around between 30 and 40 hours worth of driving experience. So there's a huge difference, a lot more skill and maturity has got to be shown by the driver when they go for their restricted test.
Okay, well, let's look at the changes, the 0 alcohol changes and the moving from 15 to 16.
Yeah.
First of all, why did we need these changes in New Zealand?
Okay, well, in New Zealand, there's a horrendous number of deaths on our roads anyway. Basically, on average, it would probably equate to one person every day dying on New Zealand roads.
Under the age of 20?
No, in general,
okay,
right across the board. Now, when it comes down to young people, the government are working, have done a lot of research, a lot of study, a lot of statistical data has been sought from around the world and from New Zealand, and they are basing their increase on working that they think that there will be 4 less deaths of 15-year-olds on our roads, approximately 25 less serious injuries and 148 less minor injuries on our roads. And that equates to taxpayers' money of about $39 million. So there's a huge saving to be made just purely from the statistics and the monetary perspective. But beyond that, there's the social impact. If one person dies, you've got 2 parents who now don't have a son or a daughter. You've got 4 grandparents. And on, extended family, brothers and sisters, and that kind of thing. And with only 2 degrees of separation in New Zealand, the social impact is just horrendous. So that's one of the things. The other thing is that with 15-year-olds, they're 30% more likely than a 16-year-old to be involved in a crash. They're 90% more likely to be involved in an incident than a 17-year-old. So there's a lot of data to back up why the government have brought in these changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can teenagers handle stress on the roads as well as older adults can?
Well, no, not really. The research that's been done on frontal lobe development, that's the front part of your brain, where we make the rational processes, we think through consequences, and we're able to make good, sound, safe decisions, especially when we're driving, then that's not fully developed until the early 20s. And so a young person driving down the road, for example, and they driving down the road and the traffic lights are green, and then all of a sudden they change to red. With just that going on, they're able to kind of make the decision and say, yeah, OK, I've got to stop, or I'm going to go, I'm going to try and go through. But then when you add in, for example, a car that's already in the intersection coming towards you that's wanting to turn right, and you look in your mirror and you see a big truck behind you, a big log truck, and it's wet, then you've got multiple factors going on, and so the stress that's involved there often leads young people to make a bad call.
Yeah, all right. Now I just want to talk about some safety things on the road, because I have come across something just yesterday when I was driving home, and I pulled into the driveway and someone pulled up, and they got out of their car and they sort of said, oh, I just want to let you know that your brake lights are out, because I've got 3 brake lights and apparently 2 of the brake lights are out, and I would have had no idea. Is that illegal? I mean, there was one the top brake light was working, but the other 2 apparently weren't working.
Yeah.
So because I didn't know that, and if I was pulled over by a police officer, would I have been in trouble?
You would have been in trouble, yes.
Really?
But because you've got a pretty face, you might have got away with it.
Well, I don't
No, I shouldn't really say that on television. But yeah, the warrant of fitness requirement is that you have all your brake lights working. So if you don't know that, well, then that's your fault, basically.
Yeah.
One of the things that we recommend in the Institute of Advanced Motorists is a pre-drive inspection. Every time you go out in your car, you do a walk-around inspection, you check that everything's functioning.
But you can't check your brakes.
Well, why not?
Because you'd have to have someone to help you.
Well, OK, so you get somebody to help you, or do you have a garage at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can back up to your garage and look for the reflection.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
All right, Duncan, always good to have you on the program, and good points. Now, how can people find out more from the Institute of Advanced Motorists? OK,
well, the easiest way is to go to the website, which is nz iam.org.nz, and that'll get them there, yeah.
Great. Really good to have you on the program.
Thanks very much.
OK, here's Jeff Morton.
Cheryl from House of Travel joins us, and today we're going to explore Europe, and particularly what Kiwis love to do, going for holidays in villas.
We are.
Nice
it's
to
the time
see you.
of the year. Yes, good to see you again, Jeff. Time of the year where people start looking ahead for 2012 Europe, and part of a 6-week trip to Europe often takes in a villa.
Right.
So it's good to get in early, because villas are Saturday to Saturday, and so you don't have a lot of room to move if you're planning a holiday. So we're going to talk about villas and why you'd have a villa, and how to look for a villa today.
So Cheryl, they're controlled by managers, and they're definitely like hotels, but managed for an individual rather than for a group.
Yeah, they vary a lot. So you can have standalone houses, standalone farmhouses, often run by the owner who lives on site.
Right.
Or sometimes the owner lets his house or her house for a period of time through the summer, and they may go to the ocean. Some of them are lucky to have more than one house, and or that can be part of an apartment block, can be in a chateau and an apartment in a chateau. So. Good. There's big agencies that run these, and House of Travel have a couple of operators they deal with, so that we know what we're getting when we offer you a villa or
so
apartment.
You need to be looking a year ahead.
You need to start looking well before you want to go, because you actually we've just got a shot up now of some of the villas. Yes,
right.
These show you a standalone option or an apartments. We compete with the UK market as well from out of here, so that's why we get in early. You can see from those shots there that you can have a sea view, you can have the standalone in the top right, small apartment. They're often very French if you're in France, or obviously Italian if you're in Italy, which means that it's the kind of furnishings that you'd find in their homes normally. So we don't confuse it with a Gold Coast apartment, because it's nothing like that.
So they're in all parts of France.
Yeah, that shows you the main areas: Loire Valley, the Dordogne, Provence, the French Riviera. They're the main areas, but we can get apartments anywhere in France.
Right. And now what about the cost? I mean, these look horrifically expensive.
No, they're not. And actually, for a 7-night cost, often it works out cheaper per night than a hotel room, and in most cases not dearer. You also get the options of like location. So you decide whether you want to be in a standalone farmhouse, which would be more isolated.
Okay.
So you'd need a rental car. Or if you want to be in a little village where you're just a little short walk down to the patisserie or to get your bread in the morning, then you would have something right in the middle of town. So there's lots of options.
So there's a little bit of planning. So you decide whether you need a rental car or a bicycle. I know people in the Loire Valley have gone on cycling holidays.
A lot of them have bikes at the...
And so you can rent them.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
And a lot of apartments, you need to have a bit of a checklist, and we'll help you with that. So you need to decide what you need, and you can't assume that an apartment would have a washing machine or something. So if a Kiwi's going away on a holiday often are 4 to 6 weeks.
Yes.
So it's really nice to take a week in a villa when you can do your washing and just kick back. You get sick of eating in restaurants every night. So it's nice to go to the markets, gather your food and bring it back to the apartment.
And you can, of course, give assistance with where to go, what time of year, what type of weather conditions they're likely to find.
Absolutely, and you know, because if you want to be amongst the sunflowers in Italy, it's no use going a month after they've finished or when the fields are ploughed. So the same with poppies, and you know, if you want to be somewhere in harvest, we have to make sure you get there at the right time.
Right. So when Kiwis go away, is there any special place that they like to go to?
I think the first time villas are generally in France or Italy, and that tends to be Tuscany often and Provence. But more so now, you can go to Croatia or Spain, Portugal.
Right. So now the Tuscany region, tell me a little bit about that.
It's a series of small villages, often at the top of hillsides, which were done to protect them years ago from invaders. So you're up the top of the little hills, and you do need a car to move around really in those areas, or be a very good cyclist.
Right. So what about trains and those sort of facilities?
Yeah, trains connect the main towns, but not always the little villages, which are the ones you see in the pictures.
So besides offering just rest and relaxation, if for argument's sake you were to go to somebody like Urbino or Siena, what would we find there?
Well, Siena, if you go at the right time, you see the horses racing around the square, but it's a medieval walled city, so there's plenty to see in every town in Italy and France.
Cheryl, I'm sold. I've been there before, but never in a villa. So if you're looking for a villa in Provence, France or Italy, go to your local house of travel in Christchurch. There are 10 of those, and I am sure that they'll be able to help.
You're back with City Life, and finally on the program, Nick Paris from the New Zealand International Film Festival. Good to have you here.
Greetings.
All right, so what are the films we're looking at this week?
Daytime Tiger. Now Costa Boats, he's a Wellington filmmaker and former reviewer for the Dominion Post. Actually, his former film was about the Caftan-wearing police commissioner. You know, he'd turn up in court wearing, you know, dresses and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so he picks unique individuals, and in this film, Daytime Tiger, he looks at an Auckland writer, Michael Morrissey, and who's a bipolar and manic depressive, has a bipolar and manic depressive disorder. So the camera follows him around during his rantings and ramblings, and you know, he's a very obnoxious man. Let's get this straight. But post his mania, he's a very humble and self-loathing individual. So there's some very touching moments in it as well. So yeah, you're invited into his home and watch him go through his tirades, and Costa Boats gives him just an arm's length, and he just does what he wants to do with his wife, and you see all these interactions. So it's a pretty indulgent slash perversive look, because we're invited into his home to witness what's going on.
How did Costa get Michael to agree to do this?
Well, it took a long time. He's a novelist, and I think he really wanted to write his own written account of his disorder.
Right.
But it took some time, and he's got exclusive access now, obviously.
Okay, well, let's look at the trailer for that.
Be happy, but they prefer to be unhappy. It's very sad. However, I'm very happy, but I'm the only happy person I know. I want to ask you a simple question.
Yeah.
Are you a daytime tiger or a nighttime tiger?
No, daytime.
Daytime.
I didn't even realize his book, Taming of the Tiger, is talking about taming me. I'm like, quite ridiculous now. What is there to tame about me, you know?
As long as I stay undepressed, 5 years I should do the greatest novel in history. I can't see any problem with that. Do you not understand about weepics and deep breathing and theology and Catholic thought? You care not to, madam?
No, I wasn't looking for a perfect person, but somebody reasonable you can live with, you know, you can get along with, you can grow old with.
But I told him, you know, you choose between your creativity and you choose between me. If you want your creativity, then I'm out. I'm fighting a losing battle, you know, every day. The medication you're supposed to be taking.
Medication? What medication are you talking about?
For every day, you know.
What medication? What medication are you talking about? I don't
Lithium.
Lithium. That's what they use in batteries.
I don't want to be calm.
I used to be the loneliest person in the world. Now I'm the least lonely. Because of mania, my life became so full. It used to be empty. Now it's full.
Let's hope it demystifies everything out there, you know, the stereotypes and so forth. And this is why it's a very candid and unique look and insight into it.
Incredible. So is that the only documentary you have as part of the festival, or is there more?
Well, yeah, I mean, happy. We're looking at a Cambodian death camp now.
Oh, okay.
Basically, we've got Rob Hamill. He's a Olympic sort of rower, and he was 14 when his brother was taken from a yacht near Kampuchean waters on the pretext that he was a CIA imposter. So Pol Pot's regime snatched him, put him into this camp and executed him along with about 14,000 other individuals. So, you know, Rob spent a very long Atlantic rowing session thinking about his brother and how he would like to, you know, honour his memory and all that. For 47 days he was alone in his rowing thing there, and basically he decides to take part in the judicial process of getting these criminals to justice. So he actually goes over there to confront the very person that green-lighted his brother's execution. And this particular fellow in Cambodia was called Brother Number One, this evil man. And so was Kerry, the poor victim of Rob's brother there. So Brother Number One is Annie Goldson's excellent documentary and follows the whole encapsulation of bringing someone to justice, and not only looks at one victim but many other victims as well.
All right, let's take a look at that one. Yeah.
This is the story of an innocent man brought to his knees and killed in the prime of his life.
2 million Cambodians died during the regime of starvation, overwork, and execution.
I see this beautiful girl in love with my brother, and he is just looking real chuffed with himself.
Well, we called it the hippie trail in those days.
The boss of tool slaying, Comrade Doik, will be the first to go on trial.
I've been invited to give what is called a victim statement at the War Crimes Tribunal. I walked in and here he is, the man who killed my brother.
He thrived in the regime that was the Khmer Rouge. He loved it. It gave him a sense of purpose and identity.
The more I hear about some of the things that happened, the more understanding of what took place there. And I want to forgive, but the harder it will be to forgive. And sometimes I feel a real hatred towards him.
What a powerful story.
And one that's also interweaved about the whole history of Cambodia. You know, they were sucked into the Cold War. They were, you know, bombed illegally by Nixon and Kissinger. You know, 4 years of brutality with the Khmer Rouge. You know, backed by China, US interests financially. It's just a real mess. So it's a very universal but poignant story of one man's plight to actually, you know, honour his brother's death. So it's a look at, obviously, forgiveness and anger as well.
Gosh, some really good films coming up in this festival. Gives me chills.
Yeah.
All right, now let's look at a happier one, shall we?
I was just chatting off here about a Mormon and a beauty queen. Well, in 1978, Miss Wyoming met a man, and he happened to be a Mormon, and basically he disappeared, vanished. So along with 4 bodyguards, she went over to, followed him to the UK, and basically he was involved in some sort of Mormon cult sect. And so she thought, oh no, I've got to get him out, got to save him. I love this man. She's really obsessed by him. So she kidnapped him at gunpoint and drove him to a little cottage in Devon, shackled him to a bedpost, and they had 3 days of fun-filled sex. So this got out in the media.
Okay.
So from her viewpoint, and also the viewpoint of the Daily Express and the Mirror, they explain this whole thing that happened in the 70s and the way she rose to fame.
Telling the Daily Express and the Mirror about it.
Yeah, well, they had opposing viewpoints. The Daily Express actually got into, the Mirror got into her whole S&M bondage sessions decades prior or whatever. And, but it got all rather messy. It's called Tabloid. It's directed by Errol Morris, who directed Fog of War. But it's on the lighter note of things.
Good, all right. Now, the festival starts next Thursday. Thursday, and it runs for
a couple of weeks, so 17 days to be precise.
17 days. It's going to be a good 17 days at Hoyts Northlands.
That's right. Yep.
Now, tell me the website.
Okay, www.nzff.co.nz.
You've got some beautiful brochures out there, some beautiful festival programs. Now, where can these be picked up?
Libraries, selected cafes, CPIT, University, Lincoln University.
Okay,
yep.
Cool. And I've my favourite one, because of the cute puppy, is this one here. I don't even know how to say that word, but...
Medinaras. It's sort of the study of buildings, but about these two people that never actually meet, hardly ever meet. They're sort of missing each other in side alleys and all this sort of stuff. But it's a nice little romantic interlude.
With cute little puppy dogs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look at them.
All right. Now, we do have a 5-trip pass to give away. Last week, we also gave one away, but we haven't done the draw yet. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But so we'll have 2 of these to give away. So if you'd like to go on the draw to win a 5-trip pass to the New Zealand International Film Festival, you can email me, kaneta@ctv.co.nz, or you can put your name in the draw by giving Marianne a call, 3777 033. Thank you, Nick. We'll catch up with you next week, hopefully.
Thank you.
That is City Life for today. You can get in touch with us, kaneta@ctv.co.nz. Call us 3777 033 or write to us, PO Box 1100 Christchurch. You can now watch us on demand. Go to ctv.co.nz, click the YouTube logo, and you'll find all the City Life episodes there. And we're on Facebook, CTV's City Life. Now have a really good weekend, and we'll see you next week.